Bai chose one of the many luxurious rooms to sleep in. Laying on the bed, he looked relaxed, finally able to get some well-deserved rest after releasing all the pent-up viruses within him. Modern world sure is much comfortable. But as he laid on the bed, something wasn't feeling quite right, so he decided to use the medicinal pillow made by the traditional Chinese medicine he brought from the dungeon. As he took the pillow out from his inventory, he was surprised to see a system notification about the pillow. A grade D daily necessity item named the Ancient Dragon Chinese Medicine Pillow, which promotes tranquility, focus, and also calms the spirit. Crafted with a secret formula, this pillow enhances sleep quality and provides minor defense against mental attacks, soothes nerves and increases lifespan, and a prolonged use strengthens and develops mental fortitude. Bai sat up abruptly, staring at the pillow in his hands. The pillow had become an item? You see, it was just a normal medicinal pillow in the dungeon. Now, as Bai stared blankly at the system interface, lost in thought, he wondered what was going on. He starts to open his inventory to check his other belongings, only to be even more shocked. Everything has changed. The vase he had brought along is now listed as a sea-level city-state probe exhibit. The description reads, "This is a creation that embodies the painstaking efforts of craftsmen. When exhibited in the City-State Architecture Museum, it will grant a bonus to the craftsmanship of city-state facilities." The vase, which was simply a decorative item to him before, now has such an official-sounding title and effect he hadn't expected. The next item he checked was the Living Buddha Relics. It has also been upgraded to a C-grade special material. The new description says, "The living Buddha's flesh is refined in a sealed environment at high temperature and is a rare material. When carried, increases luck by 1 and provides a defense against evil spirits, increasing it by 5. This is truly surprising. The relics, which were just a curiosity to him, now seem to hold far more value. The gold coins he had collected from the dungeon have also been transformed. They are now labeled D-level city-state prop exhibits. The description reads, "Weathered ancient coins. These coins have historical value. Exhibiting them in the City-State Architecture Museum will increase the income of city-state facilities." Seriously, how could something as simple as coins become so important? He moves on to the next item, the gold ring he had brought with him. Now labeled Eye of Horus Gold Ring, C-level, the description states, "A ring decorated with the Eye of Horus has a 5% recovery ability and can actively release a shield once. A shield is charged by moonlight. The ring seems far more powerful now, and its use of moonlight for a shield and adds a mysterious touch. He wonders how the moonlight could be used in practical situations." Bai is stunned, staring at his inventory in disbelief. More than half of the items he brought out of the dungeon have now been transformed into actual usable items with traits and characteristics. This is unlike anything he's ever heard of. Items from dungeons evolving into real functional props? That's wild. The concept seems almost too strange to grasp. How did this happen? And what does it mean for his future? He continues to scroll through his inventory, noticing that even the simplest materials have been upgraded into specialized items. He recalls something else he had brought back with him, the Spear of Longinus. This weapon, once handed to him by Soren before he left the Vatican, had always intrigued him. A sovereign-level powerhouse from his past life had wielded this same spear, and now Bai had his own version. He decides to take a closer look at it. As he opens the Spear of Longinus in his inventory, he sees that it too has become an item. The description reads, "Unawakened Spear of Longinus F-Class." He frowns, reading the rest. The spear is described as a special long-handled weapon with all attributes +3. It also has a skill called Dark Banishment, which allows the spear to repel evil, darkness, corruption, abyss, and filth creatures, increasing the damage caused to these creatures by 200%. This makes the spear especially useful for dealing with evil entities. Furthermore, it has a dusty seal, which states that the spear will gradually awaken as evil creatures are killed. The description shows the remaining kills for initial awakening, 0/10. Bai stares at the Spear of Longinus, his thoughts a mix of excitement and hesitation. The power it promises is immense, a weapon forged to repel dark forces, corruption, and evil, exactly what he would need in his quest. But the requirements for unlocking its true potential are clear. It needs to kill 10 evil creatures to activate it. The thought of wielding such a legendary weapon is thrilling, yet a tinge of doubt creeps into his mind. The task won't be easy. Bai reflects that the Spear of Longinus, which once existed on Blue Star, has now become an item, a manifestation of the universe's will, just like so many other things he's encountered. He reflects that everything that has become an item has hidden unique characteristics. Even the spear now in his hands seems to carry a mystery. What's even stranger is that it's the only spear of Longinus he's aware of. He wonders if Mr. Lorga, the sovereign-level powerhouse from his past life, could still have risen to power without the spear. It's a thought that briefly occupies his mind. But then something unexpected happens. A sudden sharp pain shoots through his palm, making him gasp. His hand feels like it's on fire. Without thinking, he tosses the spear onto the bed, trying to shake off the discomfort. His palm is now bright red, the skin inflamed. Bai stares at it bewildered. He inspects his hand more closely and realizes with a sinking feeling that the spear is rejecting him. His palm feels as if it's been burned by the weapon's touch. The intensity of the pain tells him that this weapon is not meant for him, at least not yet. He can't help but think that, just as the spear repels evil forces, it might see him as one of those very forces, evil, dark, corrupted, abyssal, or filthy. That could be the only explanation for the painful reaction. The realization settles in. He cannot use the spear, at least not without suffering more severe consequences. The fact that the spear is only F level makes it painful enough. If it were upgraded to S rank, he fears it might literally melt him. Bai sighs, rubbing his aching palm. He knows what needs to be done. The spear of Longinus is too dangerous for him to wield in its current state. There's no need for him to risk his own well-being. With a final glance at the weapon, he decides he will leave it in his inventory, gathering dust for as long as it takes. That way, it will be one less thing in the world that could pose a threat to him. Just then, the door of his room suddenly opens. He is sure he locked it earlier. Without warning, a knife appears and flies straight at him. He grabs the knife in midair with his fingers, stopping it. Bai senses that someone is trying to push the knife, but their grip is too weak for him. He thinks that he cannot see the attacker with either his virus detection or thermal vision. This means the person is invisible. It must be a spiritual being controlling the knife. Bai assumes that the spirit is weak because it can only manipulate objects to attack. He guesses that the level of the spirit should be low. Bai knows that he could use his hellfire to destroy the spirit, but that would also destroy the room. He feels frustrated. With merely 300 spiritual power, he only has one skill that can harm spirits. He knows he needs a better way to deal with this kind of attack. The knife slips from his grip and attacks again. But this time, Bai lowers his head and avoids it. He thinks about his options and decides to check his system. He has collected virus points from city defense and dungeons. He hopes he can find a more effective skill for this situation. The Blacklight virus doesn't seem to be useful against spirits. Maybe the Spirit Power virus series could help. However, when he checks, he realizes that no virus can unlock the Spirit Power skill tree. Bai stands up determined. He says to himself that he will find a way to handle this. He needs to learn more about how to deal with spirits and spiritual power. The knife continues attacking, but Bai keeps dodging. He feels confident that he has enough virus points now. Just then, a notification appears on his screen confirming that his virus has evolved. The zombie virus has changed into the original virus. After that, the original virus evolves into the T-virus. Then the T-virus transforms again into the Spirit Power Enhanced T-virus. At the same time, something strange happens. The knife that was attacking him is suddenly stopped by another knife. The two knives seem to clash with each other as if they are fighting. Bai wonders why the attack has stopped. Has the spirit running the knife finally given up? He thinks the spirit may have run away. Curious about the spirit, Bai decides to see what kind of spirit it is. Another notification appears telling him that the exclusive skill for the Spirit Power Enhanced T-virus has been unlocked. The skills include Psychic Mastery and Psychic Perception. Additionally, the virus enhancement has unlocked a new support skill, Psychic Vision. Bai realizes that with these new abilities, he can now sense spirits and their actions more clearly. Bai uses his newly unlocked Psychic Vision and looks closely at the spirits. He is surprised to see that there are two girls. The elder one is the one attacking him, while the younger one seems to be trying to stop her. The elder sister named Yen Ku is furious. She insists that her younger sister, Yen Shui, let her kill him. She believes that Bai is a bad person and should not be allowed to enter their house. Bai is startled and frozen in place. He reflects on how complete these spirits are. They seem to have a high level of intelligence, and he realizes they are not low-level spirits. He wonders why the elder sister is using a kitchen knife to attack him. This doesn't make sense for a spirit with such power. He decides to use his psychic perception to learn more about them. A notification appears revealing details about the spirits. The elder sister's name is Yen Ku. She is an evolver with 2 unique spirit bodies. Her talents are listed as Evil Spirit S rank, and she has abilities like controlling objects, invading evil thoughts, and absorbing energy. The younger sister, Yen Shui, is also an evolver with dual spirit bodies. However, her talents are good spirit S rank. Her abilities include controlling things, soothing with kind thoughts, and containing yang energy. Bai is amazed by the power these two spirits possess. Yen Ku is still furious, demanding that her sister allow her to kill him. But Yen Shui argues with her, reminding her that he has not hurt her and urging her to calm down. Bai crosses his arms thinking about what he just learned. Both Yen Ku and Yen Shui are evolvers. He hasn't seen many evolvers whose forms change because of their talents, and these two are unusual. He can sense their power and he feels they are stronger than most spirits. Suddenly Yen Ku tries to attack again, but before she can stab him, Bai quickly grabs her hand. He tells her to calm down and explains that he won't hurt her. As he speaks, he releases his psychic energy so she can feel the difference between their powers. His spiritual power is much greater than hers, more than 20 times stronger. He gives her a warning. If she causes any more trouble, he will kill both her and her sister. Yen Qi clenches her teeth in anger, clearly unwilling to back down. At the same time, Yen Shui steps forward, asking Bai not to hurt her sister. Bai sits down on the bed, his tone firm. He tells both of them that he will not hurt them, but they must listen to him. Yen Qi, still furious, curses Bai. She accuses him of having perverted thoughts and tells him to come at her if he truly wants to fight, but not to bully her sister. Bai responds, clearly annoyed. He says that if anyone has perverted thoughts, it's her, not him. Yen Qi grits her teeth, her anger growing. She says she will kill him if he doesn't back off. Bai instructs both sisters to stay still. He tells them that he is going to ask them a few questions. He starts by asking if they know what happened to this world and if they can use the evolver panel. Yen Shui answers first. She says that they both know what happened and that she has even read the evolver forums. She also confirms that they can use the evolver panel. Yen Qi responds quickly, saying that she knows very well. She adds that a lot of people have died and that many pets are gone now. She says it's a good thing they are gone. Bai frowns and asks why they are only level 2. He wonders if Yen Qi is too scared to go out and kill monsters to gain experience. Yen Shui steps in, explaining that it was her who stopped Yen Qi. She says that the monsters they face today were once humans. She can't bring herself to hurt them, especially since the monsters can't hurt them anymore. She adds that it's not easy for her to fight them when they were once people like themselves. Bai calls Yen Shui foolish. He warns her that sooner or later, someone strong enough to hurt them will appear. He asks how they will deal with them if they only stay at level 2. He stresses the danger of their power, explaining that it is tied to their emotions. If they let their emotions control them, they could become foolish and unpredictable. He tells them to close their eyes and focus. He wants them to feel their power and learn to control it. Then they should think carefully about what they need to do. Both sisters close their eyes and suddenly, they start shouting. Yen Shui cries out that she should help others, be a good person, and do her best to help everyone. Meanwhile, Yen Qi shouts in anger, saying she will kill everyone who harms her sister and anyone who tries to bully her. Bai watches them concerned. He realizes that their rationality has been severely affected. If he doesn't discipline them properly, they might end up becoming low-level spirits, acting only on pure instincts. In that case, they would lose their humanity and turn into mindless monsters. Bai stood up, looking at the two struggling spirits before him. He considered how to help them. Training these emotionally charged spiritual entities first, I need to minimize the impact of the energy on them. He extended his hand towards them, a bright violet energy emanating from his palm. As if grasping the solution, he muttered, just use telepathic energy and play with them for a bit. This can also train my telekinetic control. First, try complete suppression. The violet energy swirled around his hand, then lashed out, throwing Yin Shui and Yin Qi against each other. They cried out in unison, questioning what Bai was doing. Bai's face hardened. Lowering his voice, he instructed the sisters, that's right, resist with all your might until your energy is depleted. He manipulated the swirling energies, now red and blue, to envelop them with both hands. He thought to himself, I can practice shaping and controlling telepathic energy. After all, in my past life, I wasn't a specialist in the spiritual realm, so this ability isn't very strong. Yin Shui and Yin Qi were pressed tightly together by Bai's power. The two girls trembled uncomfortably. Yin Shui especially, contorted into an awkward position. Bai, continuing to control them, clicked his tongue, controlling two spiritual bodies at once. I can grasp the overall form, but the finer details are still lacking. Furthermore, he added, because they're still resisting, their movements look a bit off. After a while, exhausted from their struggle against Bai's control, Yin Qi and Yin Shui drifted into unconsciousness. Suddenly, like this, Bai was taken aback. He looked at them with confusion. Why aren't they resisting anymore? There's clearly still energy within them. It seems their intelligence has recovered somewhat. Do they think I won't hurt them? He approached them, both hands radiating energy. Perhaps you two still don't understand the situation, he warned as he walked. If you don't learn to control your emotional energy, you'll sooner or later become mindless monsters. The Een sisters jolted awake, straining against his control once more, their resistance nearing its peak. Bai swept his arms back and roared. Then I might as well just finish you off now. He threatened them, engulfing Een Shui and Een Chi in a tempest of energy. The energy ripped their clothes to shreds, leaving the two sisters exposed before Bai. Immediately following this, distorted, wavering screams, echoing and vibrating intensely, could be heard clearly from beyond the door. Bai was healing both sisters at once. 1 hour later, the two sisters, Een Chi and Een Shui, exhausted after their ordeal with Bai, lay nestled together under a blanket. Een Chi rested her head on Een Shui, both drifting off to sleep. Bai, feeling quite satisfied after his exertion, sat at the foot of the bed and posed a question. Now, if you encountered a monster attacking a human, what would you do? Een Shui's eyes snapped open. She pushed the blanket aside and answered without hesitation. I would save the person and send the monster packing. Een Chi, her voice softer now, added, act according to your strength. If possible, send the monster straight to hell. Bai, having observed their responses to his test, offered serious praise. Very good. It seems you've regained your reason. Although you still differentiate between good and evil, you're not driven to extremes by your energy. Een Shui, beaming, replied, thank you, big brother. Een Chi, however, bristled like a small, angry dog. For the rough treatment you put us through, I'll make you pay sooner or later. Ignoring Een Chi's threat, Bai leaned forward and slowly stood, continuing his explanation in a calm tone. Before, you didn't know how to control your energy. But with your Yin Yang talent, you can still absorb it automatically. Now, you're starting from scratch. I'll teach you some basic techniques. He turned, raising his right hand and clenching it slightly. Try to gradually release the accumulated energy outwards. Manifest it in the form of clothing. The sisters blushed, glancing at him with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. Immediately following his instructions, Een Shui manifested the energy as an adorable bow on her head, while Een Chi formed a pair of alluring gloves. We did it, they exclaimed. Bai continued, drawing closer. The energy retained within your bodies must be managed based on your individual capabilities. Once you've fully mastered this, I'll use these few days off to guide you in leveling up. Later, at the Red Star Mental Hospital dungeon, now fully clothed, Een Shui, with practiced ease, channeled her energy towards a benevolent spirit zombie. Soul transcendence, she declared. Nearby, Een Chi, equally adept in her new attire, focused her power on another undead creature. Twisted evil spirit. The sisters enthusiastically dispatched the remaining enemies within the hospital, honing their skills and coordination. A system notification appeared, announcing the defeat of the mini-boss, the head nurse. With the mission complete and a newfound understanding of Bai's benevolence, Een Chi's demeanor softened considerably. She rushed over to him, eager to show off. How do we do, big brother? He smiled in approval, but then, sensing Een Chi's mischievous intent, pointed a finger at her. Don't try sneaking evil thoughts into my body. It won't work. Caught in the act, Een Chi snatched her hand back with a huff. It's probably because you're already something wicked yourself, so evil thoughts have no effect. Een Shui, accustomed to their banter, yawned widely. Suddenly, a system notification popped up, causing Bai to exclaim in surprise. Is that a message from Meng Meng? On the forum, Meng Meng messaged, Master Bai, Sword Immortal wants our help clearing a nightmare difficulty secret dungeon. I'm really not Sword Immortal. Big brother Bai, if you have time, you must help. Bai replied, send me the dungeon details in a private message. I'm really not Sword Immortal responded. Got it. Immediately, the account Yeezy messaged, one spot left on the team. How can I let my little sister miss out? Following that, a system notification appeared, Shushan Mountain Path Dungeon, Special Nightmare Difficulty. Dungeon Introduction, Shushan Mountains, a path more arduous than the heavens themselves. Ancient immortal mountains, devoid of immortals, yet echoing with the clang of swords. The mountain path stretches endlessly. Who can ascend to the summit shrouded in mist, concealing fortunes yet untold? Each step, each stone, a trial. Without the immortals' consent, bodies will tumble into the abyss. Dungeon requirements, only evolved can enter. I'm really not Sword Immortal. Evolution code 098. Must be team leader. Team size limited to 4, and a level cap of 10, after reading Bai stroked his chin, pondering. So that's why they're in such a hurry. It's the level restriction. Scratching his head, lost in thought for a long moment, Bai continued to mull it over. Perhaps he'd never heard of this sword immortal in his past life. Or perhaps he couldn't find reliable teammates and ultimately perished in this dungeon. The forum buzzed with activity. Bai's message arrived at the perfect time. I haven't transcended yet, so my level is capped at 10. Let's team up. Overlord replied. The last team spot goes to the highest bidder. Fair's fair. Now Lu Huai joined in, announcing that he was here. The account really not fake replied. Fellow Taoist Sword Immortal has already announced it on the channel. I'll be going this time. Apologies, everyone. Scrolling down, Hing Han, using his Overlord account, messaged. What's with the backroom deals? Old Taoist, did you sell Sword Immortal some chrysanthemums? Overlord retorted, how much did he pay? I'll double it. Ignoring the chrysanthemum comment, Yeezy added, not fair. I'm really not Sword Immortal intervened. Trying to calm the situation. Everyone, please don't be upset. This dungeon is related to our country's traditional cultivation practices, so I decided to bring a true comrade. Next time, I'll prioritize everyone for dungeon runs. Bai chuckled softly, observing the ongoing discussion in the chat. Closing the system window, he turned to the Een sisters. Alright, let's stop here for today. Time to head home. Een Chi, still feeling unfulfilled, asked with a hint of disappointment. No more? I can still fight. He frankly explained their current limitations. Alright, you two can't handle the monsters further in. The boss uses mental attacks. Going now would be suicide. Een Chi crossed her arms, pouting and letting out a huff of displeasure. Her younger sister, Een Shui, however, was more agreeable, chirping, we'll listen to you, big brother. The scene shifted to the Shushan Mountain dungeon, a small thatched hut at the foot of the mountain. Bai, now inside the dungeon thanks to Meng Meng's abilities, stood beside a man. Seeing him arrive, she greeted him, Master. Meng Meng politely introduced the newcomer. Master, this is Jinshu Buxu. The handsome man, dressed in ancient garb, politely waved. Greetings, Senior Bai. Please just call me Chun Hu. The sudden appearance of another character startled Chun Hu, who looked up to see an energetic, stylish young man with a sword strapped to his back. He clapped Chun Hu on the shoulder good-naturedly as he entered. Big brother, finally found you. This is the owner of the account. I'm really not a sword immortal, the young man announced, pointing to himself as he introduced himself to Bai. My name is Chu Zixuan. I am sword immortal. Bai responded with equal friendliness, waving a greeting. Hello to both of you. Nice to meet you. Meng Meng, ever eager, took Bai's arm and pulled him closer. Bai stared at Chu Zixuan, wide-eyed. You have so many swords, he said, astonished. Do you have a talent for weapons? Chu Zixuan grinned, reaching behind him and drawing a sword with a flourish. You're right, he declared. Take a look, everyone. Chu Zixuan's system interface displayed. Sword Immortal S-rank talent. When equipped with a sword, can activate Sword Chi. The power of Sword Chi depends on the user's spiritual power, can create original sword techniques. Each time a new sword technique is created, all personal attributes are permanently increased. The increase depends on the grade of the sword technique. After quickly scanning Chu Zixuan's abilities, Bai nodded. Not bad at all. A decent talent. Chu Zixuan burst in a laughter, blushing and scratching his head. It's nothing special, really. You're too kind, big brother Bai. The four, now properly acquainted, stood together. Bai gestured with his hands and said excitedly, well, if everyone's here, let's get going. Chu Zixuan beamed with enthusiasm. Meng Meng and Jinshu Buxu also expressed their eagerness. Inside the dungeon, at the foot of Shushan Mountain, Chu Zixuan led the way, turning back to ask, everyone got the quest message, right? Bai nodded. We start climbing from here to the summit. That will complete the Shushan Mountain path. Meng Meng, her eyes wide, looked in the direction Chu Zixuan indicated. This mountain path definitely won't be easy, she observed, as if offering a brief introduction. Bai, his gaze fixed on the distant peak, spoke with quiet determination. I'm looking forward to the surprises this climb has in store for us. Let's go. The group of four, with Bai in the lead, climbed halfway up the mountain. Chu Zixuan, glancing around, exclaimed, is that fog? Bai, seasoned from numerous dungeon runs, called back a warning. Everyone, keep a close eye on your surroundings. I suspect this is the first trial. Looking ahead, Bai spotted a hunched figure in the distance. The man, cloaked in leaves and wearing a wide-brimmed hat, muttered to himself repeatedly, the mountain path is difficult. The mountain path is difficult. Intrigued by the newcomer, Bai, his excitement bubbling over, channeled his cultivation and shot forward, leaping up the steps with preternatural speed. "Hello, old man," he called out. Suddenly, he stopped, planting his foot hard on a stone step. He landed abruptly, his gaze fixed on the distant, diminishing figure of the old man. Astonishment filled him, panting. He murmured, "I just ran with all my might, and I couldn't even get close to him. Could it be?" He spread his arms, focusing his cultivation, and locked his eyes on the figure ahead. He began to channel the power of the Virus Monarch, a purple spectral arrow of viral energy forming in his hand. Bai, with a practiced flick of his wrist, sent the arrow hurtling towards the shadowy figure of the old man, climbing the mountain. Aside from a few wisps of white smoke that puffed out around him, the man remained unharmed, continuing to mutter incessantly, "The mountain path is arduous. The mountain path is arduous. The 5 elements of heaven and earth are difficult to pass." He then swiftly returned to his original state. Bai watched intently, a thought solidifying in his mind. Indeed, this is an illusion. Meng and the 2 new companions had caught up with Bai. Nearing Sword Immortal, Chu Zixuan, he immediately asked, brimming with curiosity, "Master, what's with that old man?" Bai, his gaze fixed on the illusion before him, replied, "It seems to be a guiding illusion. Everyone, remember the words he's chanting." Hearing this, Chu Zixuan, his eyes crinkling in a proud smile, excitedly recited the words he had heard. "I heard him clearly," he said. "The 5 elements of heaven and earth are difficult to pass," he said very slowly, contemplating the situation so far. Jinshu Buxu remained fixated on the fog, stroking his chin thoughtfully. He mused, this fog could be considered water within the 5 elements. Could climbing in this limited visibility be the first trial? Just then, the illusory old man above them recited another line of verse. "Water rises, mist obscures. Within the mist, flowers appear, a difficult return for man." Now realizing the situation was far from simple, Bai summoned his system and equipped his gear. Biohazard gauntlets equipped, clenching his fists, now brimming with surging energy. Bai muttered anxiously, "This sword force, unexpectedly, it's this powerful." No sooner had the thought crossed his mind than a sword materialized, shooting from his right side towards his head. With his current abilities, Bai's detection of the assassination attempt was incredibly swift. He recoiled in alarm, a clang of metal ringing out. A flash of light, impossibly fast, illuminated the scene. Bai had managed to transform his right hand into a protective shield, blocking the long sword wielded by an unseen force. Even he was taken aback by the power, exclaiming, "Even with my physique and the shield's defensive strength, it still managed to pierce through." Moments later, the sword withdrew from the shield, hovering eerily in midair before slowly drifting away. A moment later, it vanished completely. Just then, Bai stumbled, nearly losing his footing. Meng rushed to his side, concern etched on her face. "Master, are you hurt?" Chu Zixuan and Jinshu Buxu remained on high alert, scanning their surroundings. Chu Zixuan, his brow furrowed in concentration, spoke gravely, "Everyone, be careful. My sensory abilities can't detect its sword intent." Even Jinshu Buxu was unnerved. He turned to Chu Zixuan, his voice laced with apprehension. "Chu Zixuan, activate the talisman I gave you. My spiritual sense can't locate it either." Heeding Jinshu Buxu's words, Chu Zixuan produced the talisman. Instantly, a golden barrier of spiritual energy enveloped the 4 of them. Chu Zixuan shouted the 4 words, "Golden Light Protection Talisman." Jinshu Buxu immediately assumed a defensive stance, 2 of his fingers glowing and pulsing with spiritual energy. His eyes darted around, vigilance radiating from him. "It's coming from the east," he stated, channeling a lightning incantation. The sword reappeared, this time caught by the energy emanating from Jinshu Buxu's incantation. However, even his power couldn't fully restrain the blade. It continued to push forward, aimed directly at the protective circle surrounding the 4 it's fixed on. Bai stood at the front as Meng, terrified, covered her eyes, unable to watch. The sword paused against the barrier, gathering force for a final thrust. Bai grabbed the blade just before the tip. "A truly fine sword," he acknowledged, noticing the cracks spreading across the protective barrier. Chu Zixuan cried out in alarm, telling Bai to be careful. The golden light barrier won't hold much longer. He watched as Bai, holding the sword in his hand, seemed to have completely mastered it. Bai, gazing at the sword with a look of fascination, reassured the others that it was all right. He had subdued it. Meng, brimming with admiration, exclaimed that her master was so amazing. Zhenshu Buxu, who had thought they were done for, looked at Bai with a newfound wariness. How did you manage to subdue it so quickly? He stammered. Chu Zixuan, equally curious about the sword, mused, this flying sword, it's almost as if it has a consciousness. Why didn't it resist at all? As Bai's gaze fixed on his newly acquired treasure, he decided to show the rest how powerful the sword really was. 5 elements: sword spirit, azure, zephyr blade. Level 12, strength 60, speed 120, constitution 60, spirit power 60, azure, zephyr dragon. The more water vapor present, the greater its power. When submerged in water, all attributes are multiplied by 10. Armor penetration is also multiplied by 10. Without water, all attributes are reduced to 1/10 of their original value. 5 elements: synergy. When battling a metal attribute, sword spirit, it gains the metal attribute. When battling an earth attribute, sword spirit, all attributes are reduced. When all 5 elements are present, all attributes are doubled. Sword integration can be attached to various other swords to enhance their abilities and grant attribute bonuses. Zhenshu Buxu scratched his head after hearing the description. The more water vapor, the stronger it becomes. No wonder my golden light barrier couldn't withstand it for even half a second. With this misty water vapor here, its power could be amplified 3 to 5 times. Chu Zixuan also expressed his admiration. A fine sword, an excellent sword spirit. Unexpectedly, Bai offered the sword to Chu Zixuan. If the sword spirit were in your hands, Chu Zixuan, it could probably be used to even greater effect. However, I control it through special means. Chu Zixuan, slightly embarrassed, waved his hands in refusal. With a smile, he replied, "There's no need. I'll cultivate my own sword spirit. That way, we can truly connect." Meng Meng, her curiosity piqued, edged closer to Bai. Master, she asked. On this mountain path, the trials of the 5 elements are said to be incredibly difficult. Does that mean there are 5 different sword spirits? Bai paused, considering her question before answering with a hint of regret as he examined the scabbard. Unfortunately, I can only control 3. If there's a chance later, I'll return to collect all 5 sword spirits. A system notification then appeared, displaying the description of the biohazard skill. High-level Overlord's Brain Initiative can permanently control up to 3 beings whose spiritual power is lower than your own. With the situation resolved, Bai turned his attention back to the treacherous path ahead. The danger has passed. Let's continue our ascent. Zhenshu Buxu and Chu Zixuan, impressed by Bai's display of power, follow behind. Zhenshu Buxu, grinning, praised him. "Senior, you are truly both powerful and versatile. I have a feeling this dungeon will be a piece of cake." Chu Zixuan, glancing back, added, "Now I understand why Ouyang gave me equipment and skill books and requested a position in the group." They continued their journey up the mountain, their spirits high. 10 minutes later, Bai, Meng Meng, Zhenshu Buxu, and Chu Zixuan, the Sword Immortal, reached the top of the towering cliff face, their climb complete. They paused on a patch of vibrant green grass. After a moment of taking in their surroundings, Bai announced, "The fog has cleared. It seems the first trial is over." Meng Meng stretched, then asked, "This mountain path is incredibly long, and if the 5 elements trials are this difficult, doesn't that mean we've only completed 1/5 of the journey?" Chu Zixuan's eyes widen as he senses something. Pointing ahead, he exclaimed, "Everyone look, from far off, beyond the towering trees halfway up the mountain." Chu Zixuan pointed and said, "It's the old woodcutter." Bai turned, straining to see. He narrowed his eyes, focusing on the distant figure. A jolt of recognition shot through him, as he realized it was the same illusion from before. "It's that elderly man again," he murmured. The man's straw had obscured half his face. He continued to chant cryptic verses. "The Shushan path is arduous. The Shushan path is arduous. The 5 elements of heaven and earth are difficult to overcome." As the verses echoed through the air, a bizarre scene unfolded before Bai and his companions. Across from them, within the forest, monstrous forms stirred. "This is terrifying," someone breathed. Massive, ancient trees with gnarled, wrinkled roots and gaping maws came to life. From the earth below, numerous radishes sprouted arms and legs, pulling themselves free from the soil. Bai's group immediately assumed defensive positions, weapons drawn and at the ready. A slight smile played on Bai's lips. "Looks like we're in for a brawl," he said, his eyes gleaming. Not bad. From Bai's vantage point, a veritable army of radishes could be seen uprooting themselves from the earth. They swarmed together from all directions, beginning their advance towards the group. Bai's eyes darkened with excitement. He relished the thrill of the impending battle. "Because I love this the most," he growled. Jinshu Buxu and Chu Zixuan followed close behind. Jinshu Buxu, glancing around curiously, speculated. Based on the old man's verses, I bet this area is teeming with monsters hidden in the undergrowth. I'm guessing the sword is hidden there too. Chu Zixuan, walking ahead, spoke up, his voice laced with awe. No need to ponder the woodcutter's song any longer. He stared ahead, almost speechless. Is it over already? Before him stood Bai, wielding two swords, pulsing with vibrant spiritual energy. At his feet lay the radish monsters, slain and dismembered. One of the swords in Bai's hand glowed brightly. Below it, a system interface materialized, displaying information. 5 elements sword spirit. Wood emerald green, level 12. Power, 50. Speed, 120. Constitution, 70. Spiritual power, 60. Wood grass stage peace. In areas of lush vegetation, all attributes are increased by a maximum of 5 times. Can conceal itself within any plant or wooden object to store power. After charging, it can be launched with 10 times the power and penetration. Having absorbed the information about the sword, Bai was immensely satisfied. He raised the weapon, admiring it. Water nourishes wood. He mused, excellent. It can blend seamlessly into any vegetation. Its ambush capabilities are quite impressive as well. With that, Bai strode forward, taking the lead. Meng Meng turned back, waving to the 2 men behind them. Don't just stand there, she called. Let's keep moving. Jinshu Buxu and Chu Zixuan exchanged glances, a sense of bewilderment washing over them. They felt utterly superfluous, as if their presence in this mystical realm was entirely unnecessary. Chu Zixuan scratched his head. What am I even doing here? He wondered aloud. Bai and his companions ascended the mountain, following the figure of an old woodcutter higher up the path. The woodcutter chanted verses as he climbed. The road to Shushan Mountain is arduous. The road to Shushan Mountain is steep. 5 elements of heaven and earth form treacherous trials. The path is fraught with perilous cliffs, shattered bones, and broken flesh fall into the deep abyss. As the last echoing notes faded, a cascade of rocks and debris tumbled down from above, startling Bai and Chu Zixuan. The dust cloud quickly enveloped Bai's group, forcing them to shield their eyes. Not only was the dust thick, but the wind whipped it into a blinding frenzy. Jinshu Buxu found himself unable to move forward. I can't make any headway, he exclaimed, pulling a golden light protection talisman from his robe. Seeing Jinshu Buxu produce the talisman, Meng Meng quickly stopped him. Wait, it seemed the young woman had a more practical solution. She offered Jinshu Buxu a pair of goggles. That talisman wasn't easy to create, she said. Use these instead. Jinshu Buxu turned to her, deeply grateful. He slipped on the goggles, his vision instantly clearing. Wow, Meng Meng, you're amazing, he praised. You came prepared. Meng Meng beamed. I just made them with dream weaving, she replied. Soon, the entire group was equipped with protective eyewear. Bai, leading the way, gave Meng Meng a thumbs up. Excellent work, Meng Meng, he said. At least we don't have to shield our eyes anymore. Outwardly, he projected an air of calm reassurance. But inwardly, he remained apprehensive. Even though the dust can't hurt my eyes, he thought this windblown grit is incredibly irritating. They continued for a while when suddenly the ground trembled. Everyone stopped, anxiously scanning their surroundings. Without warning, a shower of rocks plummeted from above, striking Bai and Chu Zixuan. Chu Zixuan was unlucky. A large boulder knocked him off his feet, sending him tumbling into the abyss. Jinshu Buxu and Meng Meng cried out in alarm. Jinshu Buxu peered over the edge. What do we do? Senior Meng Meng, he shouted. The wind and dust are so thick, I can't see where they fell. Meng Meng quickly reassured him. It's all right, I'll go look. She peered down into the chasm, but saw no sign of them, only a swirling vortex of dust and debris. A wave of worry washed over her. As she carefully descended, she spotted Bai. Master, she whispered. Bai had flown down and caught Chu Zixuan. Holding the sword immortal, he coughed, his voice strained. Meng Meng, I just ate a mouthful of dirt. This secret realm is no joke. Even Bai seemed to be struggling. He spoke in a low voice, reminding Meng Meng. Flight is restricted in this instance. It drains your spiritual energy much faster. I've only used it a few times, and I'm already sweating. If you had jumped down, you would have been in serious trouble. Meng Meng handed Bai a water flask, speechless at his chivalry. She looked at him, unsure how to respond. Now, Jinshu Buxu is determined to find a solution to their predicament. I think we need to figure out how to avoid being pushed off the cliff by these sudden rock falls, he said. Folding his arms and looking upwards, Jinshu Buxu continued. This wind and dust also interfere with spiritual sense. I can't predict the timing or location of the next attack. Bai quickly pointed out a key observation. It's simple, he said. There's a half-second tremor right before the rocks fall. Use your senses. Don't let the wind and dust distract you. Once you feel the tremor, dodge immediately. At this point, Chu Zixuan spoke, his voice filled with respect for Bai. You caught the details after just one encounter. Bai instructed them to stay close and wait for the next attack. And if anyone can't react in time, they should stay close to him. Meng, together with Chu Zixuan and Jinshu Buxu, replied that they understood. But the moment they took a couple steps forward, a loud rumbling occurred suddenly. Then the rocks started tumbling down. Bai helped Chu Zixuan as the group rushed forward with lightning speed to avoid the falling rocks. Bai praised everyone, and it seems the problem of avoiding the sword of the cliff had been solved. Now, they just needed to clear this level as soon as possible. Meng asked Bai about the Earth Spirit Sword. It was right there for the taking. Didn't he want it? Bai replied that he didn't need it. And Jinshu Buxu explained to Meng that the Earth Spirit Sword was incompatible with Bai's water and with spirit swords. Also, the Earth Spirit Sword will restrain the Water Spirit Sword. Bai agrees with Jinshu Buxu, adding that his last choice would be gold or fire. A while later, still fixated on the old woodcutter's image, he continued to hum his verses. The road to Shushan Mountain is arduous. The 5 elements of heaven and earth create treacherous trials. The scorching sun beat down mercilessly. Dizzy and lightheaded, Jinshu Buxu and Chu Zixuan, drenched in sweat, complained, "This isn't good. I'm about to be roasted alive. I'm not even sweating anymore. I'm evaporating. Could it be that the fire spirit sword intends to incinerate us? This is definitely the most insidious sword spirit I've ever encountered." Meng, the only woman in Bai's group, suffered the most under the relentless sun. Soaked to the bone, the water she conjured evaporated instantly. Even her parasol offered little respite. "Master," she cried, "your disciple is about to become a dried-up corpse." Despite the exhaustion, Bai showed no weakness. He strived to be a pillar of strength for the group, turning back to encourage them. "Don't worry, it's almost here." He paused, a thoughtful look on his face, before continuing. "Explosive power isn't fire's only form." He gazed intently ahead as he spoke. Slow burning, patient waiting, gathering strength until the wind provides enough fuel for a raging inferno. That too is fire. Understanding dawned on Chu Zixuan, and with renewed hope, he approached Bai. "Master Bai," he asked, "does that mean you've figured out when the fire sword spirit will arrive?" Bai replied, "Of course. The woodcutter's song makes it clear. It will arrive when you become dizzy and lightheaded, unable to speak." Jinshu Buxu, overwhelmed by the heat, hadn't been able to speak for some time. He managed to stammer. As he swayed precariously, his gaze fixed on the sky. His eyes began to droop. He was at his limit. Suddenly, a sword lunged towards his face. It was Bai pointing a sword directly at Jinshu Buxu. With quiet confidence, he declared, "I've got you." It turned out Bai had acquired another sword, startling the already exhausted Jinshu Buxu. The sword in Bai's hand displayed its stats. 5 elements: sword spirit, fire, pre-heart, level 12. Power 70, speed 100, constitution 70, spirit power 60. Pre-heart burning fire. The higher the temperature, the greater its power. When the temperature reaches over 100 degrees, all attributes are multiplied by 10. It can use sunlight for concealment, regardless of the environment, and vaporize water within a designated range. Maneuvering the sword to hover in the air with his abilities, Bai looked at it with immense satisfaction. "I've subdued the fire spirit sword," he announced. "Let's quickly finish this section of the path and then replenish our water." After escaping the scorching stretch, Bai's group rested near a large rock, everyone gulping down water to quench their desperate thirst. In the distance, the figure of the old woodcutter remained, still humming his verses. "The road to Shushan Mountain is arduous. The road to Shushan Mountain is arduous. The 5 elements of heaven and earth create treacherous trials. Golden light flashes, the path splits, making return difficult." Bai, noticing this, glanced back and donned a new glove, seemingly preparing himself. He looked ahead, thinking, "It sounds like the metal spirit sword is a combat trial. Good timing, I'm still fired up in the heat. The fire spirit sword is mine now, so you'll be at a disadvantage, metal spirit sword." Finally, Bai's group arrived at a plaza nestled among the mountains. In the center stood a large arena with what appeared to be a sword floating in midair. Chu Zixuan surveyed the area. "It looks like the next stage is the metal spirit sword. Bai replied, yes, it seems to be a straightforward and easily understood combat trial. As they drew closer, the massive sword came in a sharper focus. Its surface was etched with intricate, archaic patterns, though time had clearly taken its toll, leaving it looking somewhat worn. Chu Zixuan, gazing at the weapon, voiced his bewilderment. Wasn't this supposed to be an unforged blade? Jinshu Buxu, equally perplexed, chimed in, unforged and unsharpened at that. A flicker of golden light emanated from somewhere within the sword, hinting at a power that lay dormant within. It seems more complicated than we thought. Bai shared their skepticism, but he wasn't one to overthink things. With a flick of his wrist, he sent 3 swords spinning into the air. Fixing his gaze on the ancient blade, he declared, let's just hit it and see what happens. Without warning, an unseen force slammed into Bai, sending him sprawling. He quickly recovered, pushing himself back to his feet and summoning his mutated virus hand. He thrust his viral tendrils towards the unsharpened sword. Upon contact, cracks spiderwebbed across the blade's surface, only to mend themselves instantaneously. A look of understanding dawned on Bai's face. His eyes widened with newfound confidence. I get it now, he exclaimed. He straightened, focusing his viral energy. Your power increases every time you're attacked, right? He lowered his stance, preparing to face the giant sword head-on. 100 refinements of steel, or maybe 100 refinements of gold, whatever you call it. A grin smile played on his lips. Let's see what you've got. With that, his hands transformed, swelling with muscle. He gripped his fists, spun, and launched himself into the air, a predatory gleam in his eyes. Sword and man collided. The impact sent shockwaves rippling through the air, shattering the surrounding rock. From a distance, Meng Meng, Zhenshu Buxu, and Chu Zixuan watched the battle unfold. Did you hear what Senior Bai said? Zhenshu Buxu asked. I did, Chu Zixuan replied, his brow furrowed. I'm wondering, can that sword upgrade infinitely? Zhenshu Buxu, eager to see the outcome, nodded. I was thinking the same thing. Finally, the dust settled, revealing the ancient sword now transformed. Bai's relentless assault had honed it to a gleaming, otherworldly sharpness. Hefting a newly forged blade, Bai raised it high. So this is the golden light, he mused. Thin as a cicada's wing, but with incredible resistance. He swung the sword experimentally. Looks powerful but feels surprisingly nimble. He examined it with a critical eye. Now that that's done, the estimated power was close to 200. I guess the decrease in durability went into increasing strength and speed. The other swords all had a total stat of 300, but this sword has been shifted from durability to power and speed. Gripping the impossibly thin blade of both ends, he felt it vibrate in his hands. So how much durability do you have? He murmured. Then, with a sudden, decisive movement, he snapped the sword in two. A notification appeared. Metal Spirit Sword, 100 refinements destroyed. 25,000 experience points awarded based on combat contribution. Bai released his grip, letting the sword clatter to the ground. This feeling, he muttered, is only a 10 out of 10. Good thing I didn't choose the Metal Spirit Sword. I don't like the feeling of being constantly beaten down, relying on one final blow. Besides, this one died too easily. A moment later, Meng Meng, Chu Zixuan, and Zhenshu Buxu rushed over. Meng Meng, arriving first, reported the woodcutter has come out. Bai's eyebrows shot up in surprise. The woodcutter's figure reappeared, his voice echoing through the air, reciting the same verse. Shushan Mountain's path is arduous. The 5 elements of heaven and earth are difficult to pass. Through the swirling dust, the woodcutter walked directly past Bai, who stood motionless as a stone, straining to hear every word. The woodcutter continued his chant. 5 elements spread across the mountain peak. The endless road is even harder to tread. This old man advises you to turn back, for without a firm Tao heart, the path remains blocked. The woodcutter then walked beyond their area, returning to the stairway, his voice still carrying the melody of his verse. Better to return to the path of immortal cultivation. Meng Meng, utterly bewildered, turned to Bai. Master, she asked, what should we do now that he said that? Bai crossed his arms, his head bowed. This isn't good, he murmured. He abruptly turned and called out to Chu Zixuan. From now on, we have a long road ahead. You must lead the way. Chu Zixuan, startled, stared blankly. Zhenshu Buxu, a gleam his eyes, clapped Chu Zixuan on the shoulder and repeated the old man's words. The endless road is hard to tread. Without a firm Tao heart, the path remains blocked. And this trial is yours, sword immortal. The heart-seeking Tao title, only you possess it. Chu Zixuan, however, remained lost in confusion. Bai, a playful glint in his eyes, turned to Jinshu Buxu. Your understanding of the Tao is quite profound. So, tell me, what is the underlying meaning of the woodcutter descending the mountain? Jinshu Buxu, scratching his head, sheepishly replied, Well, I can't say for certain. Bai's expression turned serious. I feel like it's a deception, he stated, meant to trick those seeking shortcuts, those who feel they've come a long way. He paused, recalling the woodcutter passing by, and continued. Moreover, he said, a chill entering his voice. When the old woodcutter passed us, I felt a shiver down my spine. He could kill anyone who tries to descend the mountain. Listening to Bai and Jinshu Buxu, the others began to grasp the rhythm of this enigmatic trial. Chu Zixuan, clutching his head in frustration, cried out, I'm doomed. I can't figure anything out. Am I truly unworthy to pass this gate? Chu Zixuan's bewildered expression prompted Bai to offer a word of encouragement. As long as you have a heart seeking the Tao, you'll be fine. Stay resolute. I don't want to be stuck on this endless road forever. Please. A moment later, Chu Zixuan brightened, declaring, Of course I have a heart seeking the Tao, and it's incredibly resolute. 4 hours later, a system notification appeared, Shushan Mountain Path Secret Realm Trial complete. Everyone stared at the notification, a mixture of astonishment and elation washing over them. Moments later, where the four stood, for beams of golden light descended from the heavens, rewards for completing the trial. Each beam carried a small fist-sized orb. One by one, they reached out and claimed their prize, their faces alight with anticipation and curiosity. A system message followed. Members who have completed the trial receive a special reward, the Shushan Mountain token. Then, a large chest appeared from the ground. A notification flashed, announcing the distribution of rewards and granting permission to leave the instance at any time. The notification further explained that the instance would be inaccessible afterward, transforming into a standard instance for all to use. In Bai's hand rested a Shushan Mountain token, its details displayed within the system, a special item granting the title Shushan Mountain Disciple upon possession. This title, the system revealed, allowed access to a special Shushan Mountain map for levels 10 through 89. The token was soulbound, untradeable, unable to be improved or lent. Bai stared at it, murmuring, levels 10 to 89, that's quite a map, he mused. Shushan Mountain is truly powerful. Bai's mind raced, formulating plans amidst the myriad tasks that lay before him. His most urgent objective was to acquire the second-tier 3S rank scroll and complete Lito's quest to advance his class. Failure to do so meant being stuck at level 10. After the class advancement, he decided, I'll return to Shushan Mountain and see what's what. Meanwhile, Chu Zixuan was captivated by the large chest they had received. He approached it eagerly, hesitant to open it before consulting Bai. Boss, he said, you choose the rewards first. Bai stepped forward. Thanks, he replied. Chu Zixuan, practically vibrating with excitement, looked up and declared, Boss gets first pick. Meng gets second. Jinshu Buxu, clutching the Shushan Mountain token, could hardly contain his joy. You don't have to leave anything for me, he insisted, beaming. Just receiving this token is more than enough. The scene shifted back to the Motto Villa. After their trials within the secret realm, Bai awoke in his plush bed. He opened his eyes to find the two beautiful sisters, Yin Shui and Yin Qi, already by his side. Yin Shui, her face alight with relief, greeted him warmly. You're awake. Yin Qi, standing further back, feigned indifference, though her concern was evident. She scoffed, sleeping in broad daylight. You must be weak. Bai stretched, propping himself up on his elbow to retort. Me weak? Even using your full spiritual body strength, you couldn't touch my physical form. How could you possibly defeat me? Yin Qi, having missed Bai's presence, seized the opportunity to challenge him. She taunted and bragged. Wanna test that theory? I bet I could take you down in 3 seconds. Bai swung his legs off the bed, intrigued. While I was in the secret realm, he revealed, I acquired a skill book that's perfect for you. He stood, holding the unyielding spirit technique, and leaned closer to Yin Qi, his voice laced with playful challenge. Knock me down and this skill is yours. A while later, Yin Qi was seen lying on the floor, struggling to breathe. She gasps for air and weakly admits that she cannot go on any longer. Her energy is nearly gone, and she feels as if she is about to fade away. Yin Shui, equally exhausted, agrees and barely manages to speak. Bai remains seated calmly on the bed, completely unaffected. He looks at them and points out the obvious gap in strength between them. He reminds them that he did not even put up any resistance during their challenge. Yin Qi, still catching her breath, suddenly asks him a question. She wants to know if there is someone he likes. She also wonders if he always has to be cautious when dealing with others. Bai responds without hesitation. He explains that his body is naturally strong, but he has full control over his strength. He then picks up the skill book in his hand and casually throws it toward the sisters. He acknowledges their effort and tells them they deserve a reward. Yan Qi tries to catch the book, but it slips right through her hands and falls to the floor. Bai gives her a strange look, puzzled by what just happened. Still lying on her stomach, Yan Qi sighs in defeat. She suggests that they should wait until they have recovered before trying to learn. There is no rush since the book is not going anywhere. Bai reassures them that they can learn it whenever they want. It does not matter to him. He then mentions that he has his own matters to take care of now. Yang Sui looks at him with concern. She reminds him that he promised to take them to River City. She wonders if he is leaving already. Bai explains that something more important has come up. He assures them that he will take them with him once he returns. After saying this, he extends his hand and a red scroll appears in his palm. Yang Sui nods in understanding. She accepts his decision and says that they will wait for his return. Bai holds the Demon Hunter promotion task scroll of S grade in his hand. He knows that he has already reached the limits of his current strength. The time has come to obtain the SSS-level promotion scroll from the Abyss. He reflects on his situation. If he does not complete Leto's task, he will remain stuck at level 10 forever. There is no way forward unless he takes this step. A notification suddenly appears before him, providing information about the Demon Hunter promotion task scroll of S grade. This special and rare item can only be obtained when the first pureblood demon species creature is defeated. Completing the task will transform the scroll into an official Demon Hunter promotion scroll. The system gives him a choice, yes or no. Bai thinks back to when he first obtained this scroll. At that time, he had no plans to pursue the SSS-level promotion scroll. The challenge is known to be so difficult that even the gods have failed to pass it. But now, with no other leads on another SSS scroll, he has no choice but to take the risk. He makes his decision and selects yes. The very next moment, his surroundings shift and he finds himself in the first layer of the Abyss. The entire landscape resembles a vision of hell, with a red terrain, dry mountains, and countless red demons filling the land. One of the demons notices him and immediately reacts with shock. It turns to the others, unable to believe what it is seeing. For demons join in, shouting in disbelief, a human has entered the Abyss. A fierce voice rises from the crowd. One of the demons commands the others to devour him. Bai remains calm. He recalls how, in his previous life after becoming a demon hunter, he often ventured into the Abyss. Standing here now, the place strangely feels like home. 3 demons rush at him, ready to attack. Before they can reach him, all 3 swords of Bai materialize and pierce each one of them in mid-air, ending them instantly. Bai adjusts his gloves as a system notification appears. The task progress updates showing that he has defeated 3 fallen demons out of 100. He checks the task requirements in the system. The details confirm that using the scroll transports him to the first layer of the Abyss. To complete the task and leave, he must eliminate 100 inferior demons and 100 fallen demons. He considers his next move. Completing the task will force him out of the Abyss, which is not what he wants. His real goal lies deeper, the trial of the Abyss well. He decides to hold back and avoid finishing the task too quickly. A day passes. The demons continue to follow him relentlessly. He moves swiftly through the Abyss, ignoring them. He finds the situation frustrating. The task remains unfinished because the first layer of the Abyss is filled with far too many fallen demons and inferior demons. Their endless numbers make it difficult to clear them out. Worse yet, they are mindless creatures, doing nothing but chasing him without end. Whenever he loses one group, another quickly gathers the moment he slows down. His attention shifts to a lava-filled mountain in the distance. He instantly realizes what has happened. The Abyss well has erupted. Bad luck strikes at the worst time. Although the eruption does not affect the trial itself, it floods the Abyss with powerful energy. This surge strengthens every demon-blooded creature, making them even more dangerous. The eruption sends large chunks of stone flying in all directions. Bai moves swiftly to evade them while also avoiding the demons still chasing him. He recalls that this eruption will also release countless demon blood eggs, leading to the birth of many new demon creatures. The number of enemies in the Abyss will only grow from here. His eyes narrow as he looks toward the sky. Tens of thousands of demons descend from above, pouring into the battlefield. He cannot afford to stop now. If he slows down, he will be completely surrounded. A new concern arises. If he accidentally completes the task while fighting his way out, he will be immediately sent out of the Abyss. That would ruin his entire plan. He has no choice but to fight carefully and avoid finishing the mission too soon. A sword suddenly flies toward Bai, but he dodges it effortlessly without breaking his focus. A demon appears in the distance and lands on the sword, his sharp eyes locking onto him. With clear excitement in his voice, the demon declares in demon language that he has found himself a fine meal. This is Fergus, a level 16 demon warrior. Fergus addresses Bai arrogantly, demanding that he kneel down and show gratitude. He claims that Bai should feel honored, as he is about to service as his next meal. Bai studies Fergus carefully. A pure-blooded demon warrior is not something commonly seen in the first layer of the abyss. He immediately suspects that Fergus has come from a deeper level and asks him about it in demon language. Fergus confirms it with pride. He then expresses surprise that Bai, who has done nothing but run away, knows so much about demons and can even speak their language. However, he dismisses this knowledge as meaningless, stating that food does not need to understand its master. Bai remains calm and questions Fergus's claim that he is merely running away. He points out that only the low-intelligence inferior demons and fallen demons are chasing him, hinting that there is a reason behind it. Fergus does not know the answer but offers to let Bai explain before he dies. He cruelly adds that, out of mercy, he will start by eating his head first. Without hesitation, Fergus launches an attack, rushing straight toward Bai. Bai, unfazed, gives his response through action. In an instant, he moves with speed beyond what the demon can track. Multiple swords appear and slice through Fergus midair, cutting him down before he even reacts. Fergus screams in disbelief. His voice trembles as he struggles to accept what's happened. It should have been impossible. Bai, standing unbothered, delivers his final words in demon language. He states the reason why only inferior demons have been chasing him, because he has already eliminated all other species. His gaze shifts across the battlefield. Around him, more demons begin to hatch from demon blood eggs scattered across the abyss. The situation grows more dangerous by the second. He quickly assesses the growing numbers and makes his decision. If he does not leave soon, he will be completely surrounded. There is no time to waste. 6 days later, Bai finally stands before the abyssal well. He looks at the dark, ominous pit and acknowledges the long journey it took to get here. The destination had seemed close from a distance, but reaching it was much harder than expected. His thoughts drift to his past life. When he first became a demon hunter, this was the place where he sought refuge. Most of the demons on the first layer of the abyss feared this place and do not dare to come here. He decides to take a short rest before continuing the challenge. Leaning against the mountain, he opens his system screen to check his inventory. He reviews his plan. Over the past few days, he has gathered a large number of demon bloodline potions. He intends to feed them to the mask, allowing it to absorb and refine their essence. His bag and secret storage are completely full of these potions. He wonders what level of bloodline essence will be synthesized from the tens of thousands of B and D grade potions he has collected. But before he can proceed, another presence emerges nearby. The deep voice speaks, confirming that a human has really made it to the abyssal well. The speaker steps forward, revealing himself to be a Ko-Tao fish demon, a level 18 submariner der 17. His shark-like face is sharp and menacing. The fish demon finds the situation amusing. Speaking in demon language, he explains that he received a report from one of his servants. According to the report, a human was heading toward the abyssal well. Not only that, but this same human had wiped out all other types of demons, leaving only inferior demons and fallen demons untouched. His eyes lock onto Bai, and he confirms what he already suspects. The human in question is standing right in front of him. Bai observes the fish demon carefully. A Ko-Tao fish demon appearing in the first layer of the abyss is unusual. This type of creature does not belong here. He questions the demon in demon language, showing no concern. He wonders if demons from deeper levels enjoy wandering around the upper layers whenever the abyssal well erupts. The fish demon responds without hesitation. He declares himself a demon prince and reveals that he has come here for one reason: to kill Bai. Without wasting another moment, the demon prince opens his powerful jaws and lunges forward with full force. His voice roars through the abyss as he condemns the idea of a mere human running wild in demon territory.